Imagine growing up in a world where you're asked to stay strong, a world where sometimes you're asked never to show any sign of weakness. Now that's the reality of so many boys. And the sad thing is, behind this silence are real life struggles. So many struggles that you can imagine right now. That's why today on Gyna Plus, we want to celebrate the voice, we want to give them a voice, we want to talk about them, give them a platform to share some of their experiences. Beautiful evening to you and welcome to another very interesting and yet a very special edition of Gyna Plus right on Afia television, where we discuss health issues that affect women and girls in the society. And of course, my name is Doris Mayem-Shishe. This program comes up every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Like I mentioned a while ago, this is a very special edition because unlike girls, you'll be hearing stuff about boys. And that's as part of efforts to commemorate the International Day of the Boy Child, which is celebrated every 16th May. And this year, we decided to give these boys a platform on a girl show. Well, after the break, you're going to meet a wonderful team, some young boys, and of course, a very familiar face that you know. Just stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is a very special edition of Gyna Plus right on Afia television. It's supposed to be a show where we talk about health issues that affect women and girls in the society. But today, like I mentioned during the introduction, it's a special moment where we're talking about boys. You can agree with me that boys too go through stuff. Boys to have issues that they want to talk about, and if we don't give them this platform, who then will? And a society without men and boys is almost an incomplete society. That's why today on the show, we'll take our time to, celebrate these young people, these young men who add color to our world. And of course, I will start with Dr. Brenda. Dr. Brenda is here. Dr. Brenda, can you see? I think the last time you came on this set was in March.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good.
The beautiful hair.
I'm good.
You did this. Dr. Brenda said she actually made this hair. So I'm going to tell the whole world. She's such a talented person. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right. Dr. Brenda is a family and lifestyle medicine physician and also a young doctor's firm coordinator at M1 Enugu Medical Women Association of Nigeria Enugu State Chapter. Good to have you once again.
Thank you.
And I have also a very young lad, just standing by my right here, looking all good. That's like me. Hi, Ikenna. How are you? Well, this is Ikenna Nduakuba. He is your 14, right? Welcome. How do you feel being on my set for the first time? You feel good. And you get to tell us stuff boys go through eventually. Okay, now tilting down to my left is someone you met on this set before. And of course, related to Dr. Brenda here is Ikechukwu Akanisi. How are you? Welcome. Ikechukwu, how are you?
I'm good.
I meant to say Happy International Day of the Boy Child, but it's just 2 days away, by the way. But I mean, it's still not late.
Yes,
we're not too ahead of time. How do you feel being here again? Welcome. Okay, so you already met the team, so we just delve into action right away. Dr. Brenda, 16th May. I mean, like I mentioned before, I'll keep saying it. The people who are tuning for the first time are like, but it's Gyna Plus. Why are we having guys on the show? It's a special edition. It's for the guys.
Yes.
So why are we even commemorating
No,
this?
you know what with this, the International Day of the Girl Child, it was fun and all. And it's like, you know what, this is all encompassing. Health is encompassing. It's not just related to one gender. So, I mean, why not also celebrate the boy child? And besides, we need to also understand that we live in a society that is patriarchal, right? So, these are, our president is what, male, governor, male, all the local government chairmen are what, male. And these men were boys at a point in time. So if you want a forward-thinking society, if you want a society where things work well, it's just natural that we shouldn't neglect the boy child. We should also make sure attention is given to their needs. We should also try and see what their challenges are addressed so that we can raise up a wholesome boy child. Because a wholesome boy child will give us, men who are whole, right? And when you have men who are whole, you're able to have leaders who can make decisions. That in turn will also benefit us as women, because at the end of the day, a lot of decisions that are made are dependent on who is heading the helm of affairs. So we want to make sure that these boys know why it is important for them to have good health, and in turn also extend that good health to everybody around them, which also includes us. So let's just say it's about them, but also bring it down to us, at the end of the day.
Okay, so gentlemen, I'll begin with you, Ikenna. There's something that everyone expects from us. Sometimes people always have expectations when they see a young boy, they see a young woman, Naturally would expect that you should behave in a certain way or act in a particular way. So are there things you expect you've been asked to do or people look at you to do or are there ways you behave? Normally on your own you wouldn't have behaved that way, but you're just doing it because people expect you to do this thing. Have you ever found yourself in a situation like this? What was it?
Yes, well, thanks for that question. Like in my school now, I'm the school prefect, the scientific prefect of my school. So everyone expects me to be clean always. So I have to coordinate the cleanness of myself, the school, and other students assigned to me. So if don't make sure all those things are approved, I'm not doing my work. So these are things expected from me. And mostly even at home, as a senior child, I have to make sure that everyone I have to set a good example for all my siblings to
follow.
Yeah, to follow.
So, but do you think this is a very tough job? Ordinarily, that is expectation. I'm just saying you that gone the other way. Is it a very tough job, so to speak? Does it make you edgy? Does it put you in an uncomfortable situation?
Yes, sometimes because everything you do, your siblings are watching. So you have to be at your best for your siblings to follow. And anything that happens to you happens to them and you're bad, they're also going to be bad. So you have to be good for them. Those are things expected from me.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yes.
We say you have to be good for them. But then again, the question is it the role as a first child or the role as a middle child?
So, but then if you also want to look at it from that angle, well, maybe one would expect that if we were to be a girl, would it also be the same way? So I think maybe as a first child in this case.
Okay, this is good.
Because if it were to be a girl, I'm sure they would expect her to do the same thing.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So I think it's she being first. But in the school, I think it's also the position you occupy. You have to be by example.
True.
Leadership.
True.
That will show you. Have you ever found yourself in that situation? I mean, similar question with Kenna. Has there been a time where you're doing something not because that's what you want to do at that time, but you just have to do it because people expect you to do that thing at that time? Have you ever found yourself in a situation like this before?
No.
You're not sure. So it's just you doing your thing at your pace, going your way.
Yeah.
Kind of. So I'm sure you have more to tell me, but let me come back to Dr. Brenda. Now, if you look at it from a health perspective, now it could be that you cannot another boys who find themselves specialized might be enjoying it. And he said you put him in an uncomfortable situation sometimes. Is there any implication health-wise to this kind of lifestyle where you just have to live for others? I have to put in my best because people expect me to be at my best.
Yeah, yes.
There's downside to it.
Yeah, there are downsides to it because at the end of the day, you become a yes person. You become you want to please people. You want to make sure. There's nothing wrong in saying and you be given responsibility. Like, let's say you're the first child or you're the first male child in the family. Expectation that comes with that position. Do you understand? But then again, it's also as the adults in the environment to make sure that we're not steering the children to live a life that is not live. That's another thing. Sometimes we try to live our life through our children, right? And let me bring it down to the male, to the boy child. There's an expectation on their head already. The fact immediately, like the delivery happens and you see what makes you male. Do you understand? There's an excitement that fills the air, especially in this part of our culture, the boy child is highly celebrated and all that because you think, okay, my lineage will be continued and all. So there isn't an expectation placed on that little boy because this person is going to be a future leader. So you have to fall in line with that leadership regardless. You get so unknowingly they feel the pressure mounting on them. Subconsciously, they just feel, for example, now let's say even when they are still little and maybe they are crying, my friend, why are you crying? It's you, man, And his sister is crying and nobody's telling her, why are you crying?
Most of the people, why are you crying like a woman? They've heard that.
Do you understand? So before they know, they'll now start realizing, okay, my sister is allowed to cry. She's allowed to throw tantrums. I'm not allowed to express myself. So before you know it, they start realizing, okay, I am not allowed to express my emotions because it makes me weak. I will appear weak. Do you understand? So they now start, recoiling within themselves and like, okay, I'm feeling this way, I shouldn't show it. So I should also man up in anything I'm going through. And I even see it a lot in school. There's a day I was in school, so there was a little boy, something had happened in school. And I noticed he went to a corner and was crying. And apparently this person was meant to be the tough boy in school, and I approached him because I saw him. I won't say he was hiding, but he didn't want the other students to see him. And I went, I said, what happened? And he was like, he just told me, and you could see he started cleaning his face so now I understood the setting. And I told him, okay, that, when he goes to school the next day, he should confront the boy that, hurt his feelings. And if he persists, he should just let me know. I'll step in for him, right? And I now just said, you know what? Take 2 minutes to put yourself together. Because I know the minute he steps out there and, maybe his friends see him crying, will be like, what's wrong with you? Be man, you know how this young was, bro, it's because of what you get. And it's even going to make the situation worse for him. Do you understand? So I think this is where also we also have to make sure we educate the teachers, we educate parents and say, okay, now if you're in a teaching environment, make sure you allow those people to express themselves well.
Okay, we'll come to that later on. I mean, there's still more that we're going to talk, and I'm coming back to you. Take you go. Now, I like it to be a bit more practical with to me. We are in a society where sometimes, just like the Brenda said, girls are allowed to cry. I don't know how often you cry. Have you ever cried and the mom tells you, why are you crying? Do you ever see yourself crying? Like, have you ever seen yourself expressing emotions to a point where you're tearing up? Has that ever happened?
Yes.
And you do it freely. And that's for you. There are a couple of other guys, young boys out there who sometimes are told to stay strong. But beyond that, let's say you're in a football pitch now playing and Ikenna gets to kick you in a very rough manner in your leg. Do you ever feel like it's so painful that I won't have to care if other boys are looking at me and then you start crying? Do you do that? Do you express pain to a point where you just have to cry without trying to be, let me hold back because I'm a man? Has that ever happened?
Yeah.
So you don't cry, you just have to hold it. But yet it's painful when you get with cry. So tell me about that. How does that make you feel?
In the fact that sometimes I cannot express my emotions freely is actually quite terrible. And since boys do not know when to let out their emotions and when to put it in, despite the fact that you should never hide your emotions from anyone.
Well, why I would want to say, I'll come back still. Have you ever found a scenario situation?
Yes, let us give a typical example. There's a time that I and my sister, maybe when we get into a fight, I report to my dad. So my dad will just he scold me very badly and I feel like crying.
And that's a younger sister, right?
So when it's now their own son and I want to go and report, he'll be like, "Hey man, should allow them, you should not be taking yourself like this, like you're just a boy. That anything I do to you does not matter and just let it slide."
Does that really hurt you?
Yes. And that even makes it like if I want to express my true feelings, I can't go back to them and make the same kiss. I just
see how it feels. I can imagine it.
And in that way, let me know, like, if I'm your sister, I will just poke you some more because I know at the end of the day, you're still going to not express.
Dr. Brenda,
it's funny, but
now
not
suppressing these emotions, how harmful can it be?
We know it's harmful. There's no even doubt about it because it's just going to lead to mental health issues. It's going to make you anxious. It's going to make you depressed because you're suppressing emotions. Emotions are good. I think that's one thing people have to understand. Emotions are good. They're there for a reason. They're there to checkmate what is happening within you. Do you get? I don't know if it happens to you. There's a time when you cry, you feel good.
Oh yes.
You just feel like
you need to. You start tearing up.
When you just sometimes it's not the ugly cry like you sit down and tears are flowing down and you just feel like that's not good.
I needed that.
Do you get? Sometimes you just want to scream. Do you get? You just want to shout and so that means it's like when you shake a bottle of fizzy drink, right? And you open it and you're like it comes out. So sometimes and the thing about it is that when you keep suppressing, like in that way, when like the fizzy drink you're suppressing, when it's time to open it up, the explosion is bad. So now when these young boys grow up into full-blown adults, that is when you see them acting out. Sometimes they can start acting out in school when you don't understand. They start just becoming, disobedient, they're cranky, they're not concentrating in class and all of that. Then when they now get into adulthood, where they feel okay, they have muscle and all that, you see them, that's where it now comes down to us, domestic violence and all that. They now start abusing substances. So you can see at the end of the day, it's tilted towards the negative side because you have to have an outlet.
So expressing these emotions makes you feel better. It makes you, there's this better version of you. Something happened over the weekend. My family my in-laws lost their mother. and we went to this funeral, and the male in the family, like three of them really cried, wailed, rolling on the ground. So I could hear the villagers saying, why are they crying like women? I've never seen a man cry like this. Even pardon the language, but these are things I heard. And
No, now when you heard it, how were you feeling?
In my head, I was like, so this is their mother, and you don't want them to cry because they are men. So for me, it was a bit awkward because I can't imagine because I'm a man and then I get to use my mom for instance. And I'll bottle up everything because one, I don't want to start to see that I'm weak because I mean, it doesn't add. I just hope we can do better by the way. At this point, this conversation is already, I don't feel like breaking it, but we just have to take a short break. And once we return, we're going to talk more on this episode. We have more coming up with Gyna Plus. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching Gyna Plus right on Afia television. And this is a very special edition of the show, something that we haven't once in a year. The last time we talked about men was, I think, 2 years ago, when we did prostate cancer. And today we are celebrating boys because, 16th May is International Day of the Boy Child. And I have a full squad here. My name is Doris, my nutrition, Dr. Brenda Akanisi here. I also have Lieutenant Duakobam, and I have Ikechukwu Akanisi. We'll be talking about issues around boys, what they experience, talk about the silent struggles, holding back their emotions, and Dr. Brenda has analyzed some of these things. But there's another issue I also want to talk about. I like you to share your experience if you've ever found this in a situation like this. I'll begin with you, Kenya. It's about wanting to fit in, maybe pressure from friends. Now, it's always around the fact that boys have to be men. That even at 14, they wanted to be a man already. They already said themselves that at home, half time, you just have to be a man, you're a senior. You just won't assume that role because you are male. So, but let's talk about social issues now. Are there times where you just, maybe in school, social gatherings, or maybe on the internet, if you have access to the internet, where you're just meant to either do something because everybody's doing it? Has that ever happened? Because, why would I be like that? You found this in this situation before?
Yes. You know that peer pressure has a very important role in the mental growth of a child. So the type of friends you have can affect you both positively and negatively. So what distinguishes you is the type of friends you have, whether you have good or bad friends. If you have good friends, they will encourage you positively. If you have bad friends, they can lead you into things like sexual harassment and maybe murder or stealing, those type of things. So if you have good friends, they can help you in your academics. They can make you stand out in the crowd. But there's a saying that says, "Show me your friend, I'll tell you who you are."
Okay, thank you, Kenya. Show me your friends. Show me your friends. I'll tell you.
Show me your
that
friends.
line is that line. I think I grew up hearing that line. Let's go back to Kenya and Ikechukwu. Now, Ikechukwu. Have you ever been in that situation where it is like, oh, you just have to do it because everyone is, or maybe have you ever really seen someone do that before, where they have to just give into, oh, it's my friend, let me just go along with them, maybe join the crowd, because why do I have to stand out where all my friends are doing this? It might not be you personally, but
Yeah. So personally, when me and my friends wanted to play football, right? Well, no, I didn't want to play football at all. Then they now begged me since they were incomplete, so they needed a team. At the time, I wasn't good at playing football, so I was like scared of embarrassing myself in front of everyone. They kept begging me, knowing for the fact I'm not good at football at all. I now caved in and followed them as well. And what I said was try and embarrass myself in front of everyone.
Oh no, I'm trying to go back. Okay, why?
There's this pressure, or I think someone said the other day, there's this pressure of like, once you're a boy, it's like either you're into video games or football. So if you don't do any of the above, everybody's looking at you like, very weird. And before you know it, you're forced to like do something that you probably don't enjoy just because it's the norm or what is accepted.
But does this affect their self-worth? Does that affect them? Because I know, growing up as a young girl, they always tell us you need to have a self-esteem, you need to, develop positive.
It will affect.
Okay.
It will affect in two ways because let's say, for example, now, most of the time, let's put it this way. When you play sports and you're good at it, you tend to be among the cool kids. The cool kid on the block that you get. Now, if you're not into that, it's like, who is this? And when you're in this age, when you're like, adolescent phase and all that, you want to belong. You want to, your peers matter to you a lot at that age. You just want to blend in, right? So before you know it, you don't start saying, okay, I might be odd one out, right? And not knowing that for the fact you don't do what everybody's doing, that's your strength, that is your path. There's some people who can take out that time and say, you know what, maybe I'm artistic, I want to develop it, right? And now, if you know you're artistic, but you want to follow the crowd and do maybe basketball that is trending or whatever it is, and you want to go into that, guess what? You will focus time on something that is not your thing and lose valuable time on developing a skill that is truly yours. So in that way, you've lost out. And when you now even enter that game of basketball, whatever it is, and still you're not good at it, most likely the coach will even pick you to maybe play for the school or be in the team, maybe you will constantly be a substitute. And before you know it, if you're constantly a substitute, it's not boosting your self-esteem, it's diminishing it. As opposed to, let's say, if you were good in art or music and you had gone there to develop it, you were excelling in it, and maybe when the school is doing a musical presentation, you get to play, it will boost your self-esteem. Do you understand? So I think it's also, so when, as parents, I think you should also be sensitive to know when your child is playing out of their, will I say, gifts. And it's okay for them to explore things and try new things and see, okay, oh, let me see if I have skill here. Expose them to a lot of things. But you would know where their strong point is, and it's for you to now say, okay, I think you're very good here. Let's develop it. Regardless of whether your best friend is doing this, it doesn't matter. Your best friend can still be the best basketball player while you are the best organist or something, and both of you can still excel, prior in your various,
And yeah, I think this thing you're saying now boils down to paying attention. And I'm glad that if time permitting, the second part of this conversation, we get to delve more into the role of parents, teachers, and even, coaches, how we can do better in looking after these boys. But yeah, that takes me to the next question. When I give the example of the football pitch and hiding pain, I had one question I was thinking about. I'll share a short story. When I was in primary school, my other brother and I, we're always in the same class. Somehow we were in the same class until secondary school. So on this fateful day, he played football in school and then had his dislocated or so. It wasn't fractured. So when he got back home, he kept on hiding that arm. He did it for a week, and my dad then, still my dad, my mom was still having joined us back in the city. So I said I would tell. He said, "We'll beg." It started swelling up. It was that bad. And when my daddy later found out that this was what happened, he flogged him really bad.
He flogged you.
Why did he hide me? Why did you hide that kind of pain? So and then they scolded me for not talking. I was trying to look up my brother, but I thought I was doing him some evil for not talking now. So I'm trying to say that boys hide pain to that level. Imagine to the point where someone had to keep. You didn't even think of, this could harm me in the future. So, but now beyond football, has there ever been a point where you felt somewhat not feeling, you didn't feel good about your body? Let's say you felt in a certain way. You feel like, I should be in school and I should say I'm sick. They will think, why could you be sick? No, but generally, I've never found yourself in a situation where you probably didn't feel so good about yourself. And once you express yourself, either your mom, whoever, even in class, will tell you, you just want to look for a way to dodge this thing. Has that ever happened to you? Like, maybe give me
Yes.
Okay, tell us your
My experience when I was playing one of my friends and he had a younger brother who made me trip and I got injured. So I was embarrassed. And also, if I'm to go home now, the fear of getting scolded by my parents, because I know that if I'm to tell them now, that maybe they will shout at me and tell me what they have to do just to go and play. So what made me didn't go to them is embarrassment and fear. So I had to just keep it until started paining. It got very drastic. I couldn't even walk. Like, it was very painful.
But why did you speak up? Just fear of embarrassment. How would that hurt you anyway?
So what I think there is, this thing, because they both said embarrassment. So I think it's also what do we as a society put on embarrassment? Like I think there's so much pressure on, you have to present yourself a certain way. So embarrassment is part of life. Because you feel at something to get better at it. So I think it's like when we give this embarrassment thing like so much life that people are scared to get into that, oh my God, I'll be embarrassed. But there's nobody who's successful who at one point in time did not have an embarrassing moment. But it's just how you rise above it. For you who will do TV, I'm sure maybe sometimes you're on air and probably it's like, you said the wrong word. Do you understand? You're laughing because
these things happen.
But guess what? It's the fact that you're able to flow and move over it. That's the beauty. Because even us as the audience, we are watching, we feel like, that way she recovered. Because people are also watching, like, when you make the mistake, how to recover. That is even what is the story we want to see, not
do boys speak up that easily? Because I think it's even the older men, older boys.
Yes, they're even afraid to be embarrassed as well. Yes.
They hide it.
Yes.
So you see a man now that times I know for my hand.
I know for person. Yeah, it's true.
Why?
You're correct.
So I think
it's the ego thing. It's the ego thing. Like I be man, so I know feel forehand. It's an ego thing, and I think that's what I'm saying. You have to start demystifying, unlearning some things.
Stereotypes, yes.
Unlearning some things so that you tell your child it is okay to fail.
It's okay.
It is okay, and when you fail, pick yourself and
I
get
think
back
kings
up.
too. They fail and then pick up. Anyways, I mean, this is the last day we're going to take, and once we come back, Ikenna and Ikechukwu will be telling us what some of the challenges, the thing boys face that people hardly talk about. And I mean, as a parting word, how this can be better. As boys, what kind of society do you want to see? How do you want boys to be celebrated? Maybe in a way, I guess, I like you to tell us that. But that will be another day. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying here. You're watching Gyna right on Afia television. And my name is Doris Mayushishe. I'm really excited because Dr. Brenda said we needed to celebrate the boys. Yeah, I know it's a girls' platform. And I said, yeah, because I mean, it looks like the attention thing is really not there. Which is why, at this point, I'll be asking the young boys. I still have the kid now, I still have the kid, and of course, Dr. Brenda. So, as we're wrapping up this particular episode on, this special one, are there problems you think that boys often experience that we hardly give attention, that we hardly talk about compared to the girls?
Yes. Like health problems, maybe if it comes to a particular woman, siblings, a brother and a sister, maybe they fall sick in malaria. The father may be like, you're stronger, and you can maybe manage it, and they give almost all the attention to the girl. You may not forget to give you your drugs, and you may not be there lying down there.
Noodles and eggs, I got this ice cream, and they take it all with you.
Those type of things.
Then how does that make you feel?
That makes me feel lonely. Because you have people around you, but they don't even give you that attention. And that even leads you to maybe even trying to get your own attention. And that attention may even start causing trouble just to get attention. Those type of things.
Relatable.
Parents, I know parents are listening because sometimes you do these things unknowingly. Yeah, just do it because you feel this at a young age.
Because you feel the girl is more fragile. Yeah. So let me give her the ice cream and she'll take her medicine.
Okay, so issues you think boys go through that we hardly talk about.
Another one is bullying. I've seen a lot of boys get bullied, and then when I ask to tell their parents, they'll be like, "Nah, there's no point in it. No one will care about." They'll say, "Oh, you're a man. You should man up. You should go and handle it yourself." Wow. And I've seen a bunch of boys get broken to the fact that they can't stand up for themselves. No one else will stand up for them. And I've seen that it's caused a lot of problems in the society, making men think that no one could help them in their darkest moments. It was only them, and it later start affecting them when it comes to helping others.
Okay, so I will agree 100% because let's just say, especially here, let me just say for us as Nigerians, imagine you go to school and your son comes back and say, somebody beats you. You look at it and say, you not beat the person back.
Yes.
Do you understand? But you're not even understanding the fact that your child was just bullied. Regardless of how your child reacted to the incident, do you understand? Have you addressed the bullying issue? So your own concern is, did you
give back?
Did you give back?
Did you man up?
Did you man up? And the minute you tell your maybe family members or whoever, that yes, so I gave him back. I say, yes, that's my boy. You get. But if he's maybe a female, you say, you're a lady, don't act that way, you don't need to fight. But then again, why are you also teaching that violence is the solution to everything? Why can't you have a normal conflict resolution? Why must it be physical? So what you indirectly told him is that when there's a bad, you give bad news. Which is not the case. So you've already kind of brought that violent behavior, everything can be resolved with violence. Instead of you saying, okay, somebody hit you today in school, what happened? What led to it? Because what if it was even your son that said that he was started it?